Tonight, we're following several developing stories as we come on the air. President Trump orders tariffs against Colombia in a dispute over migrants. L.A. braces for rain and possible mudslides in the burn zone, and late word on the ceasefire in Gaza. We begin with President Trump lashing out at Colombia's president. He says he's ordering 25% tariffs and financial sanctions after Colombia blocked 2 U.S. military flights that were carrying migrants. Could this lead to higher prices for coffee and bananas? Plus, the new immigration crackdown, including an ICE raid in Chicago. The military is now stepping up operations at the southern border. The new border czar warns it's a bad time to be undocumented. The flood watch in the burn zone as Los Angeles sees its first significant rain in months. Crews are putting up barriers to protect property with the prospect of destructive mudslides. Our weather team times it all out. The dire situation in Gaza. Cars are lined up for miles with Israel refusing to allow Palestinians to return home. The news just coming in. President Trump suggests Gaza should be cleaned out and demands that Jordan and Egypt take in more Palestinian refugees. Frightening moments on a United Airlines flight from Nigeria bound for Washington, D.C. At least 38 people were injured. The flight forced to turn back. Fly, Eagles, fly. The Philadelphia Eagles soar past the Commanders to earn a spot in Super Bowl 59. As for their opponent, can the Bills halt the Chiefs, who are vying for a three-peat? A brazen heist overseas. Thieves blow up the entrance to a museum and get away with gold masterpieces, one of them dating back to the 5th century B.C. And America Strong tonight. Total strangers answer the call to make a little girl's birthday extra special.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this busy Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. President Trump's whirlwind first week is ending with another bang. Earlier today, the president announced he's slapping a 25% tariff on all imports from Colombia. That includes crude oil, coffee, bananas, and cut flowers. The move is in retaliation for Colombia's decision to rescind permission for 2 U.S. Air Force deportation flights to land. President Trump now says Colombia's actions threaten U.S. national security. Today, border czar Tom Homan joined ICE and DEA agents in Chicago, where officials say they conducted targeted operations. The U.S. military flew several deportation flights this week, with troops and Border Patrol agents escorting shackled migrants onto massive C-17 cargo planes. And more troops continue to arrive at the southern border. An additional 1,500 active duty personnel have been deployed. All of this comes as the Trump cabinet takes shape, with several of his picks facing potentially contentious hearings this week. ABC senior White House correspondent Selina Wang leads us off.
Tonight, President Donald Trump retaliating against Colombian President Gustavo Petro with a blitz of tariffs and sanctions after he says the country refused to accept 2 U.S. military planes carrying recently deported migrants. Trump announcing the U.S. will impose 25% tariffs on all Colombian imports, threatening to raise them to 50% in a week. A move that could raise consumer costs for the billions of dollars worth of goods that the U.S. imports from Colombia each year, including crude oil, coffee, and bananas. Trump also imposing travel bans and visa restrictions on Colombian government officials and their supporters, vowing these measures are just the beginning. President Petro responding on social media saying Colombia will impose reciprocal 50% tariffs on U.S. goods, telling Trump, "I resist you." The international dispute capping a whirlwind first week in office for Trump that featured a torrent of executive orders and presidential proclamations.
I took nearly 350 executive actions to reverse the horrible failures and betrayals that we inherited.
Many of them aimed at dramatically reshaping America.
Our message could not be more clear. America's decline is over.
Overnight, 7 Democrats joining Republicans in the Senate to confirm Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary, putting the former South Dakota governor in charge of the department at the center of Trump's immigration crackdown.
The vice president votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
And in a dramatic moment on the Senate floor, Vice President J.D. Vance casting the deciding vote to confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for breaking the tie.
3 Republican senators voting against Trump's controversial choice to run the Pentagon. The military veteran and former Fox News host fending off allegations of sexual misconduct, financial mismanagement, and alcohol abuse, allegations that he's denied. This as Democratic lawmakers and even some Republicans are blasting Trump for purging independent government watchdogs on Friday night. Sources tell ABC News that Trump fired at least 17 inspectors general, officials tasked with rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse across the government.
This is a chilling purge.
And Lindsay, next week will be a crucial test for Donald Trump's other cabinet nominees. The Senate will hold confirmation hearings for Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence, RFK Jr. to lead Health and Human Services, and Kash Patel for FBI Director. Now, they all face an uphill battle, which is why next week will be make or break. Lindsay?
We'll be watching. Selina, thank you. Both Colombia and Mexico are refusing to allow U.S. military deportation flights to land as migrant advocates here are pushing back against the immigration crackdown. Here's ABC's Melissa Adan.
Tonight, an ICE crackdown in Chicago, the law enforcement agency and its partners conducting an operation to preserve public safety and national security. President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, and acting Attorney General Emil Bove on hand to personally observe the action, part of a mass deportation effort targeting undocumented migrants living in the United States. The Trump administration enlisting the U.S. military to the cause this week, sending an additional 1,500 troops to the U.S.-Mexico border and using military planes to transport migrants back to their home countries. The Department of Defense sharing these images from across the southwestern United States this week. Armed soldiers arriving at Fort Bliss in Texas, Marines awaiting deployment at a base in California, and a plane filled with migrants facing deportation awaiting takeoff in Arizona. Trump's new border czar, Tom Homan, telling ABC News' Martha Raddatz that he's just getting started, warning the undocumented in this country, you should be afraid and start packing now.
It's sending a strong signal to the world. Our border's closed. If you're in the country illegally, you're on the table. You violated, it's a crime.
This weekend, Immigration and Customs Enforcement making nearly 300 arrests Saturday and detaining more than 400 following nearly 600 arrests on Friday. Along the U.S.-Mexico border, U.S. Marine and Army personnel patrolling and enhancing physical barriers. Meanwhile, a legal battle is brewing. The American Civil Liberties Union is suing the Trump administration over its plan to expand fast-track deportations they say deprives people of a fair legal process.
Lindsay, immigrant rights groups across the country say people are scared, but they're providing resources like hotlines and community meetings to help those who may fear deportation. Lindsay?
Melissa Adan reporting tonight. Thank you. Now to the disaster in Southern California, where firefighters are getting a welcome reprieve in the form of much-needed rain. But that's also bringing other immediate concerns, especially to the worst-hit fire-damaged areas. These images just coming in of mudslides. ABC's Alex Stone reports from Los Angeles County.
Tonight, the powerful winter storm striking Southern California and worries any heavy rain in burn scar areas could trigger mudslides. Crews deploying concrete barriers to protect homes. Kari Vaughn's lost his home in the Eaton fire. He and his dad getting sandbags to protect his grandmother's house.
If we have water damage, that just adds another situation on top of already what we're going through.
At the Palisades fire, teams at the ready.
So we brought in extra crews to help with the debris flow or the risk of flooding.
During President Donald Trump's visit on Friday, residents pressing Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass about being able to get back to their homes.
But you know that you will be able to go back soon.
How? When, Mr. President?
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
Making neighborhoods safe, a painstaking process including removing hazardous waste and dangers posed by damaged utility infrastructure. Together, the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire claiming at least 28 lives, burning over 58 square miles, damaging or destroying over 18,000 structures. Lindsay, it's areas like this that are of concern tonight. They're trying to clear this road where this mudslide just came down. Thick mud. It is this worry tonight as the rains are falling all the way up these canyon roads. Lindsay?
Adding insult to injury there, Alex, thank you. And as he just explained, parts of Southern California are under a flash flood watch tonight. Authorities are warning about the potential for those mudslides. Let's bring in ABC News meteorologist Samara Theodore. Samara, when are we expecting the heaviest rain?
Well, Lindsay, we're actually anticipating the heaviest rain tonight. Taking a look at the radar, rain has been moving through Southern California, and it will continue to pick up as we head through the overnight hours. Warnings and watches already being put in place. A flash flood watch in effect until 4 p.m. tomorrow. It's there where we could see that mudslide and debris flow starting Santa Clarita, places like Altadena. 8 p.m. tonight, heaviest of the rain hitting Los Angeles, California. As we move through the overnight hours, by 7 a.m., we're starting to see that move further inland, where there will be snow in higher elevations. This all tapering off by tomorrow evening. By the end of it all, they could see over an inch of rain in some areas. Lindsay?
Blessing and a curse, Samara. Thank you. Overseas now, threats to the delicate ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel appear to have been averted, at least for now. Just before coming on the air, we learned that Israel has agreed to allow tens of thousands of Palestinians back into northern Gaza. In exchange, Hamas is agreeing to release a civilian hostage. ABC's Britt Clennett reports from Israel.
Tonight, after a dispute over the hostage release, Israel and Hamas reaching a deal to allow Palestinians to finally return to their homes in North Gaza and maintain the ceasefire. Lines of cars backed up today for over 4 miles. Israel says Palestinians will be able to return to northern Gaza on Monday, after Hamas agreed to release civilian Abel Yehud, as well as female soldier hostage Agenberger and one other hostage this coming Thursday. Tens of thousands are now packed into the corridor that cuts off North Gaza from the south, waiting to enter. Abdullah is one of those desperate to go back to his home in North Gaza. Everyone here is like me, he says. I have been here since yesterday and left everything behind. These scenes in contrast to President Trump's comments on Air Force One this weekend, pushing Egypt and Jordan to take in Palestinians from the Gaza Strip.
You're talking about probably 1.5 million people. And we just clean out that whole thing.
The president adding that the move could be temporary or could be long-term. Hamas saying they strongly condemn Trump's statements. Egypt and Jordan, both U.S. allies and key partners for peace in the region, are pushing back. Jordan's foreign minister saying our rejection of displacement is fixed and unchangeable.
Lindsay, we saw emotional reunions for those 4 hostages finally back with their loved ones this weekend. And we anticipate another hostage prisoner exchange on Saturday on top of Thursday's hostage release. But this deal is extremely precarious. Lindsay?
Britt Clennett in Jerusalem. Thank you. Back here at home, the future of TikTok remains uncertain. President Trump says there are several potential buyers and a decision will be made within 90 days. ABC's Alex Brochet joins us now from Washington. Alex, what are you learning?
Lindsay, tonight President Trump says he's in talks with multiple people about buying TikTok and that a decision about the popular social media app could be made within the next 30 days. Now, despite once calling for TikTok to be banned over national security concerns and a subsequent bipartisan law that briefly prompted the app to go dark in the U.S., Trump has pivoted, spending much of his second term working on a deal that keeps its 170 million monthly U.S. users online. The president dismissing reports that software company Oracle is in talks to buy TikTok. 2 sources close to TikTok, the TikTok side of the negotiation, tell ABC News that there is a path forward to a deal that allows the app to stay in business consistent with the law. And Lindsay, tonight, one of those sources tells ABC News that Trump's approach to this is a bit like an episode of Shark Tank.
Alex Brochet for us. Thanks, Alex. Tonight, terrifying moments on board a United Airlines flight to Washington from Nigeria. The Boeing 787 forced to turn around after an incident on board that injured dozens. Details now from ABC's Ika Jachi.
Tonight, new video showing the frightening moments on board a United flight bound for Washington, D.C., after what officials are calling a technical issue and an unexpected aircraft movement occurred. Food and other items littering the cabin. You can see what appears to be liquid splattered on the ceiling. A passenger telling ABC News, "We all started shouting, fear gripping all the passengers on board." The plane, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, taking off from Lagos, Nigeria early Friday morning with 256 people on board. Nigerian authorities say the pilots reported distress about an hour into the flight, soon turning around and returning to Lagos. 38 people were injured.
Was it human error, or was it a problem with the airplane? Was it just this 787, or could it be affecting all 787s? This is what the FAA will quickly want to understand.
Lindsay, United says it's working with aviation authorities in the U.S. and Nigeria to determine the cause of this incident. Lindsay?
Ika Jachi for us, thank you. Now to the countdown to Super Bowl 59. 4 teams in action today. The Eagles soaring high. Philly fans now wait to see if they'll face off against the Bills or the Chiefs in New Orleans. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the latest.
They're going to go. Tonight, the Philadelphia Eagles are flying high and headed to the Super Bowl.
Here's Barkley, a little shot.
The Eagles and Saquon Barkley running past the Washington Commanders and their rookie quarterback chasing history, Jaden Daniels.
Oh, it's a fake.
The Eagles jumping out to an early lead, but this fake punt by the Commanders and long touchdown pass kept it close. Jalen Hurts and Barkley eyeing their first Super Bowl win. Fans lining up hours before the game. Despite the loss, the Commanders are celebrating a Cinderella run. The Eagles will face off against the winners of the AFC Championship game, the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, looking for the NFL's first three-peat. Standing in their way, the Buffalo Bills, looking to end a 30-year Super Bowl drought. The Bills' quest for redemption hanging heavy, with fans remembering the heartbreak of 4 consecutive Super Bowl losses in the 90s.
And Lindsay, the stage is almost set. The Eagles delivering a dominating performance, even with several of their key players, including Jalen Hurts, pushing through recent injuries. Now with the big game just 2 weeks away, rest and recovery will be crucial. Lindsay?
Lots of excitement, Morgan. Thank you. The spread of bird flu in livestock is hitting consumers in their wallets, with egg prices soaring. While there's no evidence of human-to-human spread of the virus, the federal government says they are watching the situation carefully. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, the country's bird flu outbreak is creating egg shortages and sending prices soaring.
I couldn't believe it. We just bought eggs, and they were like $11, $12.
At least 36 million egg-laying chickens have been killed in recent months to prevent the spread of the virus. Workers on this Long Island, New York farm are euthanizing nearly 100,000 ducks after bird flu was detected there.
We need better surveillance on farms. We need better surveillance in the livestock, because we need to know where this virus is spreading.
There has been no evidence of person-to-person spread, but at least 67 people have been infected and 1 person has died. And JA is urging more testing and vigilance in communities where livestock has tested positive for bird flu to ensure it's not spreading more widely. Lindsay?
Ariel, thank you. There's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, including the dramatic rescue of 2 skiers and how they alerted first responders, and priceless works of art stolen after thieves blow up the door to a museum. Next tonight, there was a brazen art heist in the Netherlands, and it was all caught on video. 3 robbers, all wearing hoods, gathered at the door of a museum. Suddenly, there's an explosion, blowing the door wide open. Several artifacts were stolen, including a helmet made of gold that's 2,500 years old. Still ahead, how technology helped rescuers find 2 skiers who were trapped after a 1,000-foot fall. To the index now, on a dramatic rescue in the mountains east of Seattle. This happened Wednesday near Stevens Pass just after sunset. Rescuers got an SOS alert from a skier's Apple Watch. Turns out there were 2 skiers who'd fallen 1,000 feet and were unable to walk. Both were hoisted to safety. When we come back, America Strong. A little girl's dream comes true with an avalanche of birthday wishes. Finally tonight, Mom put out the word and the whole community came through.
2 months ago, 6-year-old Katie Robinson was fighting for her life. Born with Down syndrome, she went to the hospital for a minor surgical procedure, but days later went into sepsis.
We started begging God to save her life.
6 surgeries later, her condition improved. After missing being at home with her family for Thanksgiving and Christmas, her parents shared a request over social media to help make her and her twin sister's birthday special.
We just said, hey, we would love to plaster her room full of cards.
And their request was answered. Last week, after 58 days, little Katie went home just in time to celebrate her 6th birthday.
Whoa.
More than 400 birthday cards from all around the world.
Oh, this is one from Australia.
Happy birthday. We hope you have the best day ever.
Katie's now healing at home with an abundance of cake, well wishes, and an extra helping of love.
Birthday she won't forget. Thanks for watching. I'm Lindsay Davis. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.